Well, listen to that. That's a lot more hardcore already. Hello, friends. This is VJ Franz K. So it's finally come down to this, has it? You have a TENORI on, which can make some beautiful music. But what you want to make is some hardcore, industrial, noisy, experimental music. Well, I'm about to show you how to do that. Let's get started right away, shall we? One of the best ways to make music sound noisy is to give it distortion. And here we have a guitar, death metal distortion pedal. That's right. It's like the heavy metal guys use. And we're going to plug it in and power it with batteries. None of that wall outlet stuff. Meanwhile, we also have here digital distortion in the form of the Chaos Pad Mini. It may be mini, but it sure holds a lot of chaos. I always liked the Black Cat on Eveready batteries, and now he's gonna power our journey into a more noisy soundscape than you've heard before from these instruments. In order to get both kinds of distortion, analog and digital on one track, what I'm doing is splitting the output of the TENORI into the stereo pair, attaching one side of the stereo pair to the death metal distortion, and attaching the other side of the stereo pair to the line in on the Chaos Pad. Now the drum has become thunderous and smashing. You can adjust, of course. This death metal distortion has its sort of like an EQ band here, so in this case I'm emphasizing the bass, but also turning a certain amount of crispy, crunchy smash at the top of it there. For some very basic raw drum patterns, I'm using the bounce mode. You can do a lot by just adjusting the EQ. Now we're getting digital distortion on one side, analog distortion on the other side. That's pretty hardcore, if you ask me. Don't look too closely into the flashing lights or you might lose your mind. Actually, I really like this because notice it looks sort of like a robot with its two arms pounding left and right. Ever see the Transformers? Remember, what was that guy's name? Why am I talking like this, you ask? Well, when you're talking about noisy music, you've gotta growl it. You can't just say it like normal. Now it looks sort of like a crazy face. Another way to get hardcore sounds out of a TENORI is, of course, to put in hardcore sounds by loading into the sample bank noisy, strange, or smashy sounds. You get 3 user banks that you can load in simultaneously, and you can keep all the banks you want on a memory card. So in this case, got some samples from my experimental noise game Radar Head, which I've loaded in here. Really, the limitations are only by your imagination and your skill. There are so many things you can do with the TENORI on, it's amazing. I'm going to show you some of the other ones in the coming weeks. Don't forget to go to noisebug.net, where I got a lot of this stuff and where you could get all of this stuff. Now I know some of you post on my videos saying things like, that's not industrial, that's not acid house, that's not hip-hop, that's not this, that, or the other thing. Let me tell you, the truly creative people out there, they make the music they want to make, and then they worry about what style to call it, so I suggest you do that too. That's the way true breakthroughs are made. That's the way these styles get innovated. Rock and roll, techno music, jazz, punk rock, reggae, all of these new styles that we like now. I think you get what I'm saying. So now we switch the cables. Now we're running TENORI on into the Chaos Pad Mini and then into the death metal distortion for double distortion. That's pretty distorted, isn't it? In case you were wondering, yes, I am in an industrial band, and this is my industrial voice. You need an industrial voice, you know, if you're doing that kind of music. In the band Thursday's Hammer, I am the synthesizer drummer, which means I usually don't use drums, I use drum machines. Sometimes they call me the drum machinist. There, that's rich and crispy. Getting more into experimental territory. But the basic pure sounds of the TENORI are actually very good to be distorted, so you'd be surprised how aggro it can get with just a little bit of effects added. But every good noise must come to an end. It's like the quiet after the storm. This is VJ Franz K, disappearing into the world of noise, but I'll be back again soon. What kind of videos would you like to see? Give me some constructive comments and maybe you'll see it right upon your screen. Subscribe for more electronic music, visuals, and reviews of all kinds. Everything that makes your life worth living. Check it out. I'll see you next week.